The University of Waterloo is known for its renowned engineering and mathematics programs. But a question arises: what occurs outside of the classroom? With Waterloo being a growing hotspot for upcoming creatives, how has this opened the door for creatives to attend the university in the area? And following 4 students who currently attend the University of Waterloo, we learned about how the area has affected them and how they started their journey as creatives. We good? Hi, my name is Matthias.
I'm Caden.
My name is Trevor Chow.
I'm Ben Spence.
And I produce and write music.
I'm a professional graphic designer.
I do concert photography.
University student and clothing designer.
These 4 young men give us an insight of the creative world in Waterloo.
Who do you do it for?
Well, I think the simple answer would be that I do it for myself to get recognition and money and small, tangible things like that. But I actually kind of do it for my uncle who first introduced me to music. He was a well-known Ethiopian songwriter who wrote for a lot of famous Ethiopian artists. And I feel like when I lost him, I had a bigger purpose to fulfill, and I picked it up to fill the void that he left. And I feel motivated every day to just do it to commemorate him in his memory.
Is 24 hours enough in a day?
I don't think so, because with all that I have to do with music in school, it feels like I'm always drowning in work and that I never really get a break, just constantly running on a hamster wheel of work. Personally, I feel like school's just being a hurdle for me and a big bitch, and I'm considering dropping out because of how difficult it's making my schedule, and I don't really see any other option to make it easier for myself to be able to handle what I love versus what I'm supposed to do.
How would you describe your sound to someone who's never heard you before?
I would say it's kind of hard to put into words what exactly the music I make sounds like, but I feel like every time that I'm combining all the textures and different sounds that I hear, I'm kind of giving a reflection of how I feel, or just a reflection of who I am as a person, just so whoever is listening to it, whether it's one person or 1,000 people, they can kind of feel how I feel at the moment.
There's so many subcategories of photography. Why did you choose concerts?
I think concerts really just stuck with me because of my love for music. I always started playing instruments when I was about 8 years old, and music has always been something that sticks with me. And I had a really big influence from my cousin who worked for a music publication, which helped me build connections in the music industry and allowed me to get started with concerts.
If you could choose one artist that isn't here today that you want to photograph, who would it be?
For me personally, I think I would say Juice WRLD. He was a rapper and singer that really touched our generation specifically, and he dealt with drug addiction and everything that may pertain to a younger audience, and I think that he was a great influence, and it would be a really cool opportunity for me to be able to photograph him if he was still here today.
What are some moves you've been making in the industry recently?
2 shows that I'm shooting. Last week I actually shot for Jeremy Zucker, and in the next week I'm shooting for Pink Sweats, and those might not be artists that you know much about, but I actually shot the album cover for Donda by Kanye West, and I'm sure everybody knows who that is, so I think that was a pretty cool opportunity for me.
So how did you get into graphic design?
So from day one, people have been telling me I'm just naturally gifted at graphic design. Back in res, I would doodle on the walls and shit, and people would just come in and tell me it was good work. I'm doing work for some artists lately, you might have heard of Young Scissor Fingers or Lil Flip Flop or Z-Lone. Yeah, those guys been hitting me up, and yeah, my DMs have just been flooded lately.
Yeah, I don't know any of those people, but I mean, you seem to have connections. What's the marketing side of your craft?
You've never heard of Z-Lone, bro?
So, who do you take inspiration from?
Mostly my boy Drizzy. You want me to call him up? I got this, man. I know you don't believe me, man. I'm calling him. You're gonna see. Alright, Drake, that cover art's finished, man. We dropping those songs tomorrow still?
Dropping 2 songs tomorrow.
That's
Been waiting to drop them anyway.
That's right, bro.
That's
Alright, I'll call you back.
a Snapchat filter.
So right now I'm just adding the final touches to this album I've been working on for Drake. He hasn't gotten back to me in a while. I left him like 15 missed calls. I'm not gonna stress it because like got other stuff going on. I don't want to mess with his mojo. But I really think this shows the creative direction I see Drake going. And just I really like the way it turned out.
Okay, another thing I got on the way. Got this friend Dimitri, right? Know him from high school. He's got this older brother. The older brother knows this manager who manages Lil Yachty. Just gotta call this guy up. One thing, you know, the networking does its thing. Next thing you know, I'm designing the next album, bro.
So tell us about how you got started with your humble beginnings.
Well, growing up was actually pretty rough for me. I'm actually from O Block. That's just what me and the boys call Oakville back home. But how I got into sewing was actually a really interesting story. I ripped my pants at school, and I was walking home, and like all these girls were behind me making fun of me and stuff. And then out of nowhere, I see a sewing machine on the side of the road. So obviously I take it home, fix my pants up, and then from there I just started experimenting and sewing stuff together, putting patches on stuff. So yeah.
So what has been the most defining moment so far in your clothing and designing journey?
Well, it was actually when I was super young. I was at the YMCA, and I don't know if you know what this is, but I used to be super into finger knitting. One day I was just like, hell, why don't I try doing it with my toes? So the head lady of the YMCA comes up to me. She's like, you should not be doing that. That's gross. That's not good hygiene. I said, leave me alone, lady. Like, I'm gonna be creative. So that just really inspired me to never doubt my ideas. Like, just do what I think is perfect.
So where do you get your personal style from?
Well, I actually kind of picture myself as a peacock navigating itself through the wild, you know? Very fluorescent creature, just bringing light to any environment I step into. For example, like I made this piece yesterday. I think it speaks for itself. I'll just throw it on for you guys real quick. It's a bit tight, but...
So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, I'll be, 24 in 5 years? Aside from that, I mean, I hope I have, hope I can grow some facial hair, maybe have a big beard. But as for clothing, it's definitely something I want to pursue. I want to work with bigger names, bigger artists, and just learn from some of my role models, you know? I feel like that's a good goal to have, and I really want to see that through.